There's a number your bank is quietly hoping you'll never sit down and actually calculate. Because the day you do, you find out that the safe, responsible, grown-up thing you've been doing with your money has quietly cost you $40,000. No fee, no alert, nothing on your statement. It just feels smart, which is exactly why it's so expensive. I spent 8 years as the kind of finance analyst who decides where a company's cash actually goes, and I'll be blunt with you. The way your money is sitting right now would get a real CFO fired by lunchtime. Give me the next few minutes, and I'll hand you the single question that fixes this for good. But it only lands once I show you where that 40 grand actually went. So let's go find it. Start with what's actually happening while that money sits there feeling safe. The average interest rate on a checking account in America right now is 0.07%. Not 7, 0.07. So for every $10,000 you keep in there, the bank pays you about $7 a year. $7. That won't even cover lunch. But here's the thing. The $7 you're not earning isn't even the expensive part. The expensive part is invisible. It has a name. And once I show it to you, you will not be able to unsee it in your own account. It's called opportunity cost. Probably the most important idea in all of finance that nobody outside of finance ever talks about. And it's brutally simple. The real cost of anything isn't what you paid for it. It's the best thing you gave up to get it. So when your cash is parked in a near zero account, the cost isn't nothing. The cost is everything that money could have safely been earning somewhere else while you weren't looking. So let's actually run the $40,000 number, because I promise it isn't hype. Say you keep $25,000 as your cushion, and instead of checking, it sat in a boring high-yield savings account paying around 4%. Not stocks, nothing risky, just plain, boring savings. Let it sit for 25 years, assuming it keeps earning around 4%, and that $25,000 quietly becomes about $67,000. Which means, by leaving it in checking, you didn't lose 25 grand. You gave up the 40,000 it could have turned into. Same money, same risk to your principal. One lazy decision. And yeah, before you type it in the comments, rates move around and the taxman takes his cut. The exact dollar isn't the point. The gap is the point. And if 25 grand sounds like more than you'll ever sit on, fine. Run it on 10,000, and you still quietly handed the bank around $17,000 in growth. This mistake does not care how big you are. But here's what bothered me most about it. The lost growth is only the first thief in the room. There's a second one, and it's even quieter. The second thief is inflation. Historically, prices in the US climb about 3% a year on average. Now look at that 4% again, because it's not all profit. Roughly 3 of those 4 points are just running in place, keeping pace with rising prices. So that boring savings account is barely staying ahead of inflation. But your near zero checking account isn't even in the race. It falls behind. Every single year. The balance on your screen says the same number, so it feels safe. Meanwhile, it quietly buys less groceries, less gas, less of everything the longer it sits. So let that land. The safe money in your checking account is actually the single most expensive money you own. Which raises an obvious question. If this is so dumb, how do the people who move money for a living avoid it? They follow one ruthless rule. And the first time you hear it, it sounds a little insane. In the corporate world, idle cash is treated like a fire, something you put out immediately. A company would never let millions of dollars just sit around earning $7 per 10 grand. There's an entire job called treasury management whose only purpose is to make sure that by the end of every single day, almost none of the company's cash is sitting idle. It gets swept into something that earns, overnight, automatically. Because corporate finance runs on one merciless little rule. Every dollar has to have a job. Every dollar has to clear a minimum bar. We call it the hurdle rate, or it doesn't get to just sit there. Think about how savage that is for a second. Every single dollar has to justify why it gets to stay where it is, or it gets reassigned. No dollar gets to retire early. And here's the part that should sting. Your checking account is your household's treasury department. You're the CFO. And most of us are running it like a CFO who'd be marched out of the building by lunch, letting the cash pile up, feeling responsible, and never once asking the one question a real CFO asks every day. What is this money actually doing for me? So let's finally answer it. The pros use a system. It's only 3 buckets, and I'll warn you now, bucket 2 is the one I'd bet money you've had backwards your entire life.
Bucket 1 is your spending money. The cash you'll actually use in the next month or so. Rent, bills, groceries, life. That belongs in checking, and it's supposed to earn nothing because its job was never to grow. Its job is to be there when the bills hit. That's fine. Leave it. Bucket 2 is your cushion, your emergency fund. And this is the one I told you you've got backwards. Somewhere along the way, somebody convinced you the emergency fund has to live in checking, so it's there when you need it. It doesn't. A high-yield savings account keeps that money just as protected. Same FDIC insurance on your principal, up to $250,000. And it's still right there. The only catch is, it takes a day or two to move it into checking. And for an actual emergency fund, a day or two is completely fine. So you get nearly the same access, the exact same protection, and instead of earning nothing, it earns around 4%. Read that back. If your emergency fund is sitting in checking, you are paying for safety you are already getting for free. And then there's bucket 3, the surplus. Everything above what you'll spend soon and above your cushion. And this, right here, is where your $40,000 has been hiding this whole video. This is the money with no job. The money just existing in your account. And an unemployed dollar is the single most expensive thing in your entire financial life. Quick honest note before anyone screenshots this. I'm not telling you exactly where to put it. That depends on you. This is general education, not personalized financial advice. I'm just showing you the math. But here's where most people now make the opposite mistake and overcorrect. Because the gut check is holding cash ever the smart move? Yes, absolutely. A good CFO holds cash on purpose for exactly 2 reasons. 1, a known expense that's coming soon. A tax bill, tuition, a new roof. 2, genuine dry powder. Money kept loaded and ready to grab an opportunity. That is not idle cash. That's cash with a job and a deadline. The difference is intention. Cash you're holding for a reason with a date attached is a strategy. Cash you're holding just because you never got around to deciding, that's the leak. One is a CFO making a call. The other is a dollar nobody ever bothered to give a job. So how do you tell which one you've got? That's what all of this comes down to. One question. This is the question I promised you at the very start. The same one those CFOs run on every dollar they touch. Ready? Look at the money in your accounts, every chunk of it, and ask, what is this dollar's job? If the answer is, I'm spending it this month, perfect, leave it in checking. If it's, that's my safety net, move it somewhere safe that actually pays you. And if the honest answer is, I don't know, congratulations, you just found your $40,000. That's the money that needs a job today. So stop keeping your money safe. Start keeping it employed. Because safe money just sits there and slowly shrinks. Employed money goes to work while you sleep. Okay, quick, before you click away, go open your banking app right now, this second, and look at how much of your money is sitting there with absolutely no job. Then do two things. Drop that number in the comments. You don't have to be exact, just be honest. Nobody's judging. And tell me which bucket you've been getting wrong. I read every one, and I'll pin the most honest answer I find. And if you want the FP&A breakdown on the money stuff nobody bothers to explain properly, the actual math, not the hype, subscribe. Because that's the whole point of this channel. Now go give your dollars a job.